Welcome to part 2 of Chelsi Shikongo Talks. My guests are Aeron and Kulan Ganes, where we are finding out more about them and where we talk about women in entertainment and the arts. Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of straight men are now including a daily skin routine. Do you think that they're enough? Do you think that's enough for men to look after their skin? I don't even know. What do they even use? Because I feel like on the shelves, there's not really enough skincare products for men. Or can they use the same type of products we use?
I think it's getting better now with like I said, most men are becoming more in touch with what's the word? Is it metro man?
Metrosexuality.
Metrosexuality. So now there's more products for men online, and I think men should definitely. Well, you don't have to do the bigger things. You just need to have a good face wash and a good moisturizer.
Yeah.
Brush your eyebrows a little bit, moisturize your skin, and take care of your beard.
When we say moisturizer, like anything like
Depending on your
skin type.
Yeah, Nivea or...
But how do you know what your skin type is?
So...
Is there like one way just to see?
No, there's not just one way. There's billions of ways for you to figure out
I
what
think
your
it's the
skin type is.
characteristics what your skin shows, when you don't wear anything or when you're done washing your face and you maybe have like a T-zone that's a bit oily.
A T-zone.
So that immediately is a characteristic of oily.
Of oily skin. If your T-zone is always oily, then you have oily skin. But that also doesn't mean you should not moisturize.
Yes.
Oh.
Because
oil is good for your skin, but you still need to moisturize.
you still need to moisturize.
I also wanted to say, I think there's a lot of stereotypes generally with makeup and skincare.
Yes.
I think these two things don't need to be gendered.
Yes.
Even with fashion, even with your clothes. And I love the fact that man is like getting into like skincare and like makeup and all of that. Because I know even like with experiences with like male grooming, when you put a bit of concealer on like a man's face, they're very skeptical. But once they see it, they're like, we don't want to contour and give you a whole liquid liner.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just want
to make you look lekker.
Enhance your face, make you feel glowy and doughy and soft,
Yeah, but if you really, if there's a man out there watching this, if you want to get into skincare and if you want to get into a little bit of concealer or like male grooming, please go ahead and do it. Like there's no gender attached to any of these things.
Yeah, because it's the concealer doesn't say only for women.
Yeah, it doesn't say
if
that.
you want to cover your... do like brush your eyebrows, like fix your beard.
Put a lip balm on.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally feel like women also like take you more seriously or appreciate the fact that you.
If you are neat and tidy, like your appearance, your clothes, your everything.
I take it very seriously.
Yes.
Well, that's on period.
Yeah.
As you should.
Jay, you are proudly queer and have been a big supporter of the LGBTQ community in Namibia. Do you think the country is warming up to the LGBTQ community, or is homophobia still prevalent in Namibia?
I wouldn't say warming up. I think...
what is the actual word?
I think people are very tolerant to the queer community. It's not... there's not even rights that protects us. Like, you can go into a police station and state your case. People will laugh at you if you tell them, no, you got robbed, or let's say, for instance, gender is like domestic violence.
Yes.
People would laugh at you, and that shouldn't be the case, I'm a human being before I am queer or anything else.
Exactly.
So I think we still have
I'm a Namibian citizen before anything. So,
exactly.
yes.
I think there's still a lot of unlearning that we need to do. There's still a lot that not only we as queer people, we as queer people, from a very tender age where we go through so many stuff, man.
Yeah.
And all that trauma helps build a better person. So it's almost like you're growing a thicker skin for all of the BS. But I don't want to live in a world like that. I want to be free. I want to do me. I want to have rights that protects me. I want to go into a space and cement myself without being looked at funny.
You don't want to always be cautious.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't want
to be yourself.
Exactly. Now you must hide yourself or who you really are because certain people tolerate you. Even when... Let's say, for instance, even if I go into a police office now and I probably put on a thick voice, why should I do that? That's not my identity. That's not what I'm comfortable with in order to get assistance or like even be helped. So I think we're being tolerated a lot.
Okay.
And I don't want to say it's fortunate, but it's cute. But I don't want it to be that. I want it to be a free and fair Namibia for each and every citizen, regardless of your sexual identity or your gender identity. Yeah.
Have you had any issues?
Oh,
Okay.
Issues. I've got a couple. I always have issues with law enforcement. Like, I always have issues when I have to go. And, I don't know, the funniest things always happen to me. I lose my shit.
Yeah.
And then you have to go make a declaration. All of those things scare me so much. I'm like, do I really want to go? Do I really want to put myself in that
It's like you feel imposter syndrem for yourself.
Exactly.
Basically.
And it's like, you have to do this in order to get that.
Yeah.
So, maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, I went to like a police station close to my house. And then I got there and I tell the lady, no, I lost my stuff, And then she gives me a paper to write a declaration. And then I write the declaration, and then this was my gender, what. And then I write was now the M that they want me to write. Write the M, and she's like, oh, meme. But you look like a meme, but you still a male. I'm like, but I mean, isn't it your
Because
country?
there's no other box. Yeah, you should have said there's no other box.
Yeah.
Yes.
You only gave me 2.
Exactly. So what do you want me to say?
If I say female, then you might be upset.
We can't help you. I'm like, what do you mean you can't
help
help me,
me?
bro?
Yeah.
A gender issue? Like, I lost my shit. I just want to regain it.
Yes.
It's not like you should, like, write a whole statement to
Yeah.
your superior and tell them, look, there's a male in a female form. That's not what I want. I just want my documents.
As a citizen and as a human, I just want my stuff back.
Yeah. And it's, it's one of the things that every time shit like that happens to me, I'm the scariest person to go anyway.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to law enforcement stuff. That's why I also just try to stay on the, the right side of the law.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have to face that kind of stuff.
Is it, do you think it's culturally influenced?
Very much so. And it's also like a thing of, I don't want to say uneducated. It's a thing of like, you know exactly what it is.
But why can't we call it uneducated?
It is
because I think it is, I think it is. And I'm going to bring it up. It's the same as racism. When slavery started, that was something that they were taught. They were taught to hate black people,
So they can be taught to not hate black people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think they are uneducated. And,
I think we could call it that, but at the same time, I think they also turn a blind eye because you can't tell me there's like 1 out of 10 Namibians that's queer that don't visit your office.
Then that's the ignorance.
Yeah,
that's the
like
ignorance.
The ignorance.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's more ignorant than uneducated because
it could be both.
Everything teaches you a lesson on a daily. And if you don't take that away or like learn something from it, then you're just ignorant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone is so like overwhelmed. I feel like people who practice like racism, homophobia, these are people that can't even face their own trauma.
Exactly.
And instead of, it's like you trigger them, as in like you're telling them, open up, be you, just talk about it, cry about it. And I think they retaliate to that type of space, of that type of experience. And I think that's what most of them go through.
Sure.
Or that's basically what I see when I see a police officer. I just see like a traumatized person who's like, this was the only job I could take to deal with that.
This is always how it's been.
Yeah.
Yes, this is always how it's been. So if I change it, something might happen. I might not get this job. I might get fired. And then they just continue doing.
True. Could also be a power dynamic most of the time. Because, it's very intimidating. Like, you have this whole attire on with... I mean, I also have like a kind of a bulletproof vest on, but that's just to defend myself.
Yes.
But like with them, it's like, it's a power dynamic. Like when you step into their like, space, it's like you're up here and I'm up here. But I need your help so you can do whatever you want with me, however you want to give me the assistance that I need. But you're not going to do it like full on or like from A to Z. You're going to do A, Z, B, F, and then we're going to come to C.
You will choose where you're going to help me or how you're going to help me.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Do you feel like as a queer person, like you miss out on jobs in Kulan? Do you feel because you're a woman of darker skin, you have to work 10 times harder to get gigs?
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Personally with me, definitely. Like, I was fortunate enough to work for Mac and Estee Lauder that was like started by a queer couple,
Yes.
And there's like a very queer-friendly dynamic within the company. But like outside of that, there's like a lot of,
politics.
There's like a lot of politics. There's like a lot of gatekeeping happening that I've heard of, like even like before the job and after the job. So I think that's like a really, really terrible thing because nobody deserves that. Like, you can't not give me a job because of my gender identity. It doesn't make sense. Like, do you, like, if there's a plumber walking into your house, are you gonna like stereotype because it's a woman? Or are you gonna like let this person work because they know the job that they are supposed to do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've experienced that a lot of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know that song of is it Erykah Badu? It says, "I'm not my hair.
Yes.
I'm not my sexuality. I'm not my race." That's how the song should actually go. I've not experienced that in Namibia, but I've experienced that in other countries and other places where I've worked where there were more international people. Then my color came into question. Where they were like predominantly like white people. Then me being as a black person, I would always be kind of like ostracized because, okay, cool, this little black girl, which is like capable? Is she capable? Can she do this? Like when I went to after Mad Max, they did the reshoots like a year later, and then I ended up going to to Australia instead of the South African white girls, and I got a few text messages and stuff that said, "Why did you have to go? Because you didn't really do much." Because I was not on set. But I knew how to do mixing the paint. I knew the continuity of everybody. I knew what my previous boss used to do because I was with her, like I was her right hand. But they didn't get that. They only just thought, okay, cool, I'm being pulled ahead because she's my friend, and they it was a bit of a...
They didn't think that you deserved to be there because of
and
your
also
work.
because I'm Namibian in an industry that is literally almost non-existent, and they come from SA where the industry is booming. So it
I
was,
see. They thought it was like a free pass, like, oh my gosh, yes, like, we're already here.
Yeah.
Did it affect like your mental health going through these experiences?
People will hate you, guy. They don't. People will hate you. You can be a pink diamond, and they will still hate you. There is nothing you can do about any of those things. Yes, it does get to you, and then you think about it a little bit. But if you allow it to go into you and consume you, that's where the imposter syndrome will just get worse and worse and worse, and eventually you will not follow your dream.
Jay, when were you at your lowest moment, and like how did you get out of it?
I was actually in my lowest moment last year when I lost my grandmother. Yeah, she was like my best friend. And, you know, she was that one person that I would call if anything bad happened to me, if anything good happened to me. And when she passed away, I realized, like, every time I tried to call her, I was like, babes, your girl is not there anymore. Like,
exactly.
And that really, like, it took a toll on me. It still is, but I'm trying to live with it each and every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I must thank you publicly because last year, I was in a really bad place with my mental health, and I had no one to turn to. Like, I remember how I literally would spend hours just sitting with you at Estee Lauder, and I would just not do anything.
Yeah.
I would just sit there because I was just like, there's no other space that I feel like people could understand what I'm going through as a creative, as a human being, because the same way you feel, I feel the same way. Like, I constantly have to feel like I have to prove not necessarily prove, but like I always feel like if I don't, I'm always put in this dangerous
you have to be a certain
situation
way.
Because I'm androgynous looking. And that threatens people. Not even my looks, but just the fact that I have the confidence to win, the confidence to want things, the ambition to want things. It intimidates people. I literally get people who are like, you're so intimidating. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do with that energy rather than just being that little kid that I always was with, just like, just keep quiet, just take it in. Just tolerate it. It will end very soon. You know, so I just want to thank you for that because like my early days as Miss Namibia, I was truly at my lowest. Winning in a pandemic is one of the most resilient things I've ever done. And not just being like, guys, take your crown back. I am done. I'm not going to do this without any support.
Yeah.
And yeah, you spotted that and you're just like, babes, just whatever you need to do.
Just
like,
sit here, man.
Just sit here and
yeah
so thank you for that. Thank you. Kulan, how do you look after your mental health? I know you said you don't take it in. But how do you deal with it when you're really like, like this is just not working and
not giving.
Like this mood board is just not what do you do?
So I spend a lot of time with people. like outside.
Nice.
Like I have, well, that's not how I deal with it. I spend a lot of time by myself. And I spend a lot of time in my brain, like trying to always analyze, trying to sort out things. So I live alone. I don't own a TV. I don't own a radio.
Is that by choice?
By choice, yes.
Okay.
By choice. And because everywhere I go, whether I go out into the street, whether I go to work, there is always more than 20 people around me. I constantly have to talk to somebody. I constantly have to engage with somebody. And it gets tiring. And it does get to a point where it mentally is so draining.
Okay.
So I shut off. I have that moment where I just tell people, I would text my girls and say, girls, I'm going offline for the next 3 days. Don't talk to me. Don't WhatsApp me. Don't whatever me. I can sleep. I will sleep. No, I don't have to sleep the whole day, but I will spend a lot of time in my bed. I do a lot of arts and crafts. I bead. I draw in coloring books. I cook for myself. I drink a lot of wine. I sit outside on my balcony. I can do that for 5 days. I can go for 5 days without seeing anybody.
Okay.
And then, so in that moment where I'm always by myself, I analyze and reanalyze how I feel about certain situations. And I don't just cut off my feelings. I don't just say, okay, cool. Obviously, yes, if you are busy and you have to go running and like do your things, then you can put it on the back burner. But eventually you have to deal with it. You have to face it. You have to analyze it. You have to sit with it and say, okay, cool. This is how this thing made me feel. This is why it made me feel like this. And this is how I'm going to continue to change so that it doesn't affect me again. Things don't just stop affecting you like now and then it's just gone. No, it will stop now. And then in 5 years' time, the same thing might happen again. And then you will just be back to square one. It will trigger you again. So we all need to have good, conducive coping mechanisms when it comes to mental health. Because mental health is just not a one-time thing.
Yep.
It's there. It's constantly there. It's like a flip of a switch, then you are back there. So deal with your stuff and then come back out and try. People need to look after themselves.
Recharge.
Exactly. We ask every guest this question. If you could give your 16-year-old self advice, what would it be? 16. Where were y'all at 16?
16, I was in grade 12 that time.
At 16?
Yes.
I was in grade 10.
I was grade 11.
That was 2002.
I would tell myself, just to relax, and just, find yourself. And, when you do, be happy with that. Yeah.
What would I tell my 16-year-old self? Ooh, I almost said don't be a doers. When I was 16, I was really, I was a rogue child. So maybe that would be my advice to myself. But I would say life happens. You just need to deal with it. Whether it's the good things or the bad things, you need to deal with it. Life happens. You can make as much plans as you want, but be able to be flexible in case it does not work. Because also attachment, not just to physical things, but attachment to the way we feel, attachment to the way we think. Those are things that will make us, loving something and being attached to it should not stop you from loving something else. Because the attachment to things, that is the problem.
And our last question for the day is, what's next for Kulan and what's next for Jay?
Ooh. Kulan, I think you can start.
Should I go first?
Yes.
Because I already know my answer.
Okay.
So at the moment, pencil casting is looking into moving to SA.
Like the whole...
No.
Okay, just like a branch.
Branching out.
New branch.
With that, I am also moving to SA. Yes. But we will have a MD here that will also handle the casting and all of the stuff. We have already started setting up meetings and possible work opportunities and also the process of starting a pencil casting SA.
Love that.
So that's where we're at, and hopefully it will be good. Because I have a hopeful feeling. I kind of will say that I have given up a tiny bit on this side of the industry, but I'm hoping that with what I learn and what I achieve in Cape Town, Cape Town is the place where it's going to be based, it will help us to change things here. Maybe that would work a different way. But it's something I'm willing to try, and Namibia will always be home, guys. We can always come back. Let's go and fly a little bit, and then we can come back and fix the problems that we've got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the future for me. So I really want to go back to beauty school. And I just want to specialize in crazy stuff like Kulan said. Glam gets boring. I want to build a cheek on Angelina Jolie, that sharp, Maleficent vibes. I really want to do special effects because I think I see myself there, and I personally feel and believe that I'm creative enough to do that. So I definitely want to go back to beauty school and maybe open a beauty school one day. Yeah. But 80% of the school is going to be queer. So the 20% of y'all cis girlies, we'll see about your application.
You have to write a motivational letter. Why do you want to come here?
And give us a kidney.
And in the past 5 years, have you practiced a homophobic crime? Have you?
Yes.
No? Okay.
We want all of that.
Welcome. Make sure that you're safe.
Yes. Exactly. I think for me, it's just, I want to get to the UK. I think I can do more there, modeling, TV, radio. I can get into makeup as well and acting. So I think that's the hub. I think I've exhausted South Africa a bit as well. And it's also just like when you're with one agency, they just sort of push you for that specific.
For those specific things.
Yeah, like just beauty, commercial, ads. And then, you sort of feel like, okay, this is all that I can do.
And then you become typecasted kind of vibes.
Yes.
Instead of having
I feel like I'm already typecasted in Cape Town. And that's why I want to like move into a space where like people will really test, like my abilities in how they can push the creativity, I guess, through me.
Yeah.
So.
And you're doing amazing. I mean, you're creating such a beautiful platform now.
Thank
so just
you.
Pick it up and bounce.
Bounce.
Yes.
Y'all will see me on BBC.
Take your things and go.
BBC something.
Why not?
Don't leave with not leaving anything here.
Exactly.
So make sure that even if we are all going, because I think all of us as creatives in this Namibia should leave.
Yes.
I'm sorry
so
to
we can
say
see
this.
what happens.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's put our tools down and let's go. But let's also train and educate people here at home so that they can also do the exact same thing that we did and say one day, okay, cool, I've exhausted my resources here. Let me go. So that the wheel can keep on going.
Yeah.
So that in that way you can say, okay, cool, somebody from Namibia can call you up and say, in this situation, Chelsi, while you are sitting there in the Bahamas drinking your cocktail and shooting a shoot or whatever you're doing, and say, in this situation, Chelsi, how would you handle it so that they can back home also be able to execute it at the best of their level, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I would love to leave that type of legacy as well.
Legacy, yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on Chelsi Shikongo Talks and just sharing your struggles, your journeys, your wins, and just the advice you have to give. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah. Lovely.
Ooh,
I
had
like
fun
being
too.
interviewed, guys. It's like, it has happened more and more in the past few years or so, but I really always feel so freaked out being in front of
Well, at least we documented this. And like you said, Namibians can look back to this and say, okay, there was somebody like Kulan and there was somebody like Jay. I'm not being delusional. I'm not like what I'm thinking right now is something that is achievable because there were people who have
before
done it,
me,
that are physical, like I know them, So thank you so much.
We are the leaders now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers with water. Love to see it.
Stay hydrated, kids.
Yes.
As a belief.
Thank you, Jay and Kulan, for appearing on Chelsi Shikongo Talks. Don't forget, all our episodes appear on all platforms, including the 99 FM app, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Google Podcast platforms. Plus, you can download every episode to listen again. Join me next time for Chelsi Shikongo Talks.